Hello and welcome, fellow digital soldiers, to True Reporting. It is the 23rd of September, and on today's podcast, we have a part 2 of George Clooney and his ties to the New World Order. This is coming from TiffanyFitzhenry.com. Again, she has done great work. It says here, what it means to work with the New World Order. I wasn't going to do part 2. I really wasn't. My recent George Clooney deep dive behind the illusion George Clooney landed like a nuke in the minds of the collective, reverberating so far and wide. I not only heard Hollywood read it from the scores of reliable and high-up sources, but I have been contacted by an absolutely humbling number of people in Africa thanking me for writing it. My friends, this was a great, well put together investigative journalist article. It was amazing. It's had over 70,000 views on my channel. So guys, please add Tiffany Fitzhenry on Twitter and make sure you stop by TiffanyFitzhenry.com. I'm trying to get her on the channel so that we can do a possible interview, which would be great. But before we get into today's podcast, my friends, I wanted to share something with you real quick. Censorship is gearing up yet again for another wave, and we must keep these channels alive. We must do that. So for right now and for the time being, I will be asking each and every one of you to please subscribe to my backup channel, True Reporting 2.0. The link will be in the description box below. It will also be right here. So make sure that you click and subscribe, click the notification bell. When you do subscribe to this channel, we are going to build it up to make it just like True Reporting with 151,000 subscribers. So guys, we've got to keep it alive. Both me and Red Pill are making backup channels. We already have them. We just have to build them up. So we have to do this, my friends. This is all I ask from you. We do our part. I'm asking you to do your part in the fight for YouTube censorship. This is what this is. We have got to go up against it. It is a battle, a digital warfare. We are in the middle of it, my friends. So guys, please do so. And real quickly, would you please welcome my sponsor, Noble Gold. Hey guys, Thomas from True Reporting here. Did you know that gold is up 18%? That's right. It's been like that since the month of June, and we all know why. It's because Trump is relentless against the Federal Reserve. We know that our money is not worth anything unless it's backed by gold. So why not back your 401k or IRA with gold and go to Noble Gold and tell them Thomas sent you from True Reporting. You call this number 1-877-646-5347 and tell them Thomas sent you, and it'll be worth your while. Thanks guys, and enjoy the podcast. All right, guys, it's good to have you aboard. Before we hop into today's podcast, would you please go ahead and click the notification bell? And while you're at it, please go ahead and leave a like. The more likes that this video receives, the more times it is recommended to other viewers, thus more eyes on the truth. And with that being said, my friends, let's go ahead and hop into it. This is True Reporting. So Tiffany Fitzhenry brings us up to speed what it means to work for the New World Order. I wasn't going to do part 2. I really wasn't. My recent George Clooney deep dive behind the illusion George Clooney, which I will leave the link in the description box below. It landed like a nuke in the minds of the collective, reverberating so far and wide. I not only heard Hollywood read it from scores of reliable and high-up sources, but I have been contacted by an absolutely humbling number of people in Africa thanking me for writing it. It says here, to all the people in Africa, thanking me for exposing the fake Hollywood CA shills and their sham in NGOs, causing chaos and havoc in their countries. I am beyond honored and truly humbled to help. The light of the truth is unstoppable. It's a good day for the great awakening. Absolutely. The piece felt like enough. It charted Clooney's career as a case study in becoming a controlled influence deep state puppet, and exposed how actor, activist, United Nations Council on Foreign Relations stooges are manufactured by whom and to what end. I was satisfied with it for about a day and a half, and then I started digging even deeper. I felt like we'd effectively established that Clooney, for all intents and purposes, worked for the New World Order. And here we go. That's not too symbolic, right? The covering of the eye. I think we pretty well sliced up and revealed the slimy guts of the putrid, rotten practice of appointing Hollywood celebrities as United Nations messengers for peace and goodwill ambassadors for the maggot-covered, decomposing deception that it is. A slimy trick used by the global elite establishment in order to whitewash the war-making, raping, pillaging, and plundering they do through the multinational corporations at the altar of which the likes of Clooney worship. It is clearly Clooney suckles at the teat of the New World Order, as we can see here. Booyah. Again, but now I wanted to know more. I want to know, what exactly does that mean? What does that look like? What are the nuts and bolts of this thing? And can I break it? Can I use George C.A. NWO Puppet Clooney to expose the whole sham to the world? As it turns out, I think that I can. To kick things off, here are a few tidbits I did including in Article 1, which topped out over 5,000 words for fear of simply making it too long. These things, when combined with all we know, serve to further solidify our Clooney cabal collusion. The topless photos of the 13-year-old girl. In 2009, after his Oscar for Syriana, but before his CFR official cabal coronation, there was a story we all missed because we were asleep and easily tricked, where a photographer snapped a picture of a 13-year-old girl topless at Clooney's Italian estate. The matter turned into a lawsuit where Clooney sued the photographer and 2 publications for trespassing onto his property to get the shot and for printing it. Who the girl wasn't explained beyond someone changing in one of Clooney's guest rooms. Of course, this could be anyone, and it could be innocent. But knowing what we know now in post-Epstein world, it could be something much darker and more sinister. Either way, it's certainly noteworthy, especially given the fact that Clooney has said on numerous occasions that, in quote, skinny dipping is a rite of passage at his lake house. It's something all of his guests do. Alrighty, moving on. Hollywood, cocaine, and hookers. Then there was the time, right in the midst of 2010, aka the year Clooney became a made man, that his then girlfriend was implicated in a drug and prostitution ring. The wide-ranging sex and drugs scandal involved businessmen, celebrities, and high-class prostitutes. So many reoccurring themes surrounding the rich and influential, aren't there? It's almost as if it is how one moves up the ladder of high society. The weird world of Clooney's sister. Now this is just plain weird, guys. A blind item from Sedan revealed a little window into George's relationship with his sister. It says here, from November 8, 2012, George Clooney's sister speaks. In a very refreshing interview, George Clooney's older sister spoke to the Daily News, the New York Daily News. 2 things I got from the interview. George Clooney is not going to marry Stacy Keibler, and George isn't gay. George's sister also says that she emails her brother frequently, but is afraid to have his phone number in case she loses her phone. She also does not like to ask him anything too personal because she is afraid of accidentally repeating it to someone. They see each other once a year, and that he sends gifts to his nieces and nephews. She does not like going to Hollywood because it is too overwhelming and prefers living in Kentucky right down the street from her parents. She doesn't have his phone number for fear she'll lose her phone and someone will get it. She could just put it under a different name, but okay, whatever. She also says she doesn't talk to him about anything too personal because she might accidentally slip up and reveal it to someone. I find this noteworthy. Not so because Clooney's sister obviously has a very low opinion of herself and her trustworthiness, but because these kind of isolation and compartmentalization tactics reek of the methods and used by handlers in wrangling controlled assets. The super strange Paris Hilton thing. As many of you know, there are some rich bloodline families out there with way too much power and money, all part of the elite economic order. Clooney and other Hollywood shills serve, for which they are rewarded. A little proof of that pecking order was revealed when Clooney said some off-the-cuff remarks about Paris Hilton being talentless, which made their way into a Rolling Stone article. But that's not the weird thing. What's weird is how far he went out of his way to back down from those comments. Why would he back down? No matter what you think of George Clooney, he generally comes off as a pretty upfront guy. Ask him a question and he will give you an answer. You may not like the answer, but he will give you one anyway. In the new edition of Rolling Stone, Clooney gave an interview and said some pretty nasty but true things about Paris Hilton. Now he is trying to backpedal and saying that the magazine got it all wrong and he would never say anything bad about Paris Hilton. Why is he afraid of Paris Hilton? Does she have something on him? Did he and Paris do the dirty? Did he dress up in diapers or something? I mean, this seems very un-George-like, and there must be something going on. In the interview, he said, and quote, "There is a funny thing that happens when you are a young actor. You equate financial success and getting jobs with whether or not you're good at it. And it still happens. That's why there is a Paris Hilton. And now I'm in trouble with Paris Hilton." He also called her a wannabe. I don't think he said anything wrong or anything people would find disturbing. He is also assuming that Paris can read, or will read this, or that her friends are capable of reading it to her. His reps are in full damage control mode and say that Rolling Stone took two sentences out of the context and that the quote wasn't in the spirit of the interview. What the F? Who cares? Again, why? What is the big deal? Are you in love with the Hilton Honors Program or something? It isn't even that bad, which leads me to believe that George and Paris have a history and he doesn't want her spouting off. Or she knows something about George the rest of us don't know and he's kissing butt like Larry King and really losing my respect. Why is he afraid of Paris Hilton? It's actually an important question. When you consider her sister Nikki's recent marriage to a Rothschild, you realize we've been unknowingly living in the Game of Thrones. The Hiltons are exactly the Lannisters or the Starks. They're more like the House Tyrell, but still, it seems Clooney knows how all this works. That's why his reps went into full damage control mode, and why a little while later, a rumor surfaced and was splashed all over the Cabal-owned tabloids that Paris and Clooney were dating. You are watching a show. Actually, it's worse than that. You're watching a spoof of reality, layers of fakery, a show within a show within a show. Says here, Paris Hilton, who previously sparked reports that she is helping the world through shopping, is reportedly dating George Clooney. It's all about image and public perception, and at the end of the day, net, it's a positive thing for Paris to be romantically linked to the sexiest man alive, even just in a rumor. For her, it's social currency. For him, it was an easy way to please his masters. This is how you apologize to the New World Order. His billion-dollar tequila company sale a few years later was their apology accepted. Clooney's staged arrest. Nothing has worked at fooling people better than seeing someone get arrested. That's why, in March 2012, Clooney staged a protest outside the Sudanese embassy in D.C. and was, of course, promptly arrested for civil disobedience. Oh no, that's not staged at all. Eye roll. Absolutely. Important to note that over the last decade, vast amounts of oil have been being discovered in a sub-Saharan county of Sudan. It was less than a year earlier that Sudan split with South Sudan, making South Sudan currently the youngest and, one might say, the most vulnerable country on planet Earth. State Department emails show then Secretary of State Hillary thick-ankle dog-faced Clinton was being kept abreast of the whole charade every step of the way. And unclassified U.S. Department of State, right here we see forwarded to George Clooney. This is coming from Merrill Mills, Cheryl D. George Clooney crusade for diplomatic intervention in Sudan. Wow. And this was in 2012. Clooney, yet again, using his celebrity to do the bidding of powerful people. Currently, Clooney's openly promising roles to Meghan Markle in upcoming films and publicly defending her. It's clear Clooney is now the cabal's bitch boy. What's got him that far in their debt, you might wonder? Which brings us to Casamigos. Regarding Casamigos, here is a massive and mind-blowing article you must read after you're done reading this one, of course. It says here, Casamigos corruption, January 21st, 2018. I'll warn you, bring snacks and a sleeping bag and maybe a fistful of peyote. The journey it takes you on is nothing short of a spirit quest, long, winding, and mind-bending. Reading something so sweeping with so many seemingly unrelated plots converging at once is not for everyone. So I'm going to paraphrase some info from that article. On October 6, 2015, Clooney, Crawford, and Gerber launched Casamigos in London. At the time, this guy right here, Franz Humer, was chairman of Diageo, the world's largest beverage company. He was already on Clooney's The Century Project. Isn't that cozy? And if you want to know what the Century Project is, go listen to the first podcast I put out about George Clooney. Spoiler alert. Later, we will find out that Humer Diageo is the company which eventually purchases Casamigos for $1 billion. I'm sorry, I just couldn't wait to tell you. Diageo PLC is a British multinational alcoholic beverage company, which is headquarters in London, England, and offices on 6 continents. It was the world's largest distillery until being overtaken by China's Kestrel Maotai on April 9, 2017. Remember Clooney's hope for the Haiti $60+ million money laundering scheme to funnel funds to the Red Cross and the Clinton-Bush Haiti Fund, which famously never made it to Haiti? And remember Laura Silsby and the mess of stealing children from Haiti, which then Secretary of State HRC smoothed over? Well, interestingly, Franz Humer is also the chairman of the International Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Dr. Franz B. Humer is chairman of the board of International Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Dr. Franz B. Humer International Center, right here. Boom, you can look it up. You know the ICMEC, which was founded by HRC and boasted people like Eva Bronson, Richard Bronson's mom, and as founding board members? Yeah, you're going to want to sit with that one for a bit. Later that month, on October 20th, 2015, Amal Clooney wrote an op-ed demanding Obama pass the Global Magnitsky Act. That act becomes the central focus of the meeting in 2017 between Donald Trump Jr. and Russian agents used in the collusion efforts to impeach Trump. Putin's response to this act has been to ban Americans from adopting Russian children, saying he didn't want Russian children ending up in the hands of you-know-whats. Wow. Amal Clooney was part of the legal defense team for Julian Assange, most suspect as a Cabal plant watchdog, departed her role as part of Assange's legal team upon WikiLeaks' release of the Podesta emails. According to the UK Evening Standard, if Clooney was chosen over Assange, then it strikes a statement of loyalty. But could it be a smart move for a powerful couple who some consider to be a natural fit for the White House? This feels like a great time for me to go on record and say there isn't going to be a President Clooney. Filmsy foreground shills of the NWO are not the future. Sorry. On January 1st, 2017, Franz Humer retired as chairman of the board of the beverage giant company Diageo a few short months ahead of the Casamigos sale. 2017 of January, President Trump is inaugurated. Also on January 17th, these numbers 17, 17, 17. Amal and George are in Davos. As Amal is being honored by the human rights work, who else is there? Why, Matt Damon and George Soros are. The primary focus? Getting rid of dealing with Trump, a duly elected president only just being sworn in at the very moment. So that's interesting and very anti-democratic of them. Absolutely. And here you can see them. Then on June 27th, George Clooney, Rondé Gerber, and partner Mike Meldman sold their premium tequila brand Casamigos to all of the companies in the whole wide world, Diageo, for $1 billion. This was truly stunning. This was a truly stunning windfall for a product that the trio formed just 4 years earlier, in which Clooney and Gerber reportedly developed by trial and error in search of a tequila that was hangover free. Cool story, bruh. The law firm representing the Casamigos sale, why, that was Sullivan and Cromwell. You see, Amal Clooney worked there in defense of Enron. So yucky, isn't it? It's not hard to see how all of this works, am I right? Like, it's embarrassing we haven't been seeing it all along. Now, after the Clooneys were handsomely rewarded, it was time for them to really get down to work. When one works for the NWO, one knows the eye must constantly be fed. Look at that. July 31st, 2017, Amal and George Clooney team up with the UNICEF to help refugees. August 1st, 2017, George and Amal Clooney partner with Google to get Syrian refugees back into school. September 30th, 2017, George Clooney pens protest poem, Laugh Out Loud, I'm Not Kidding. I pray for my country, he says. I pray that we can find more that unites us than divides us. I pray that our nation's leaders want to do the same. I pray that young children like Tamir Rice can feel safe in their own neighborhood. I pray for all our children. I pray for our police and our first responders. I pray for our men and women of the armed services. I pray that dissent will always be protected in this great country. I pray for a more perfect union. And when I pray, I kneel. Oh, how brave. Well, that settles that. No one is pulling this guy's strings. Just kidding. Laugh out loud. Of course they are. October 25th, 2017, Clooney donates $1 million to combat corruption in Africa. But he donates to his own charity, a very Clinton move. Friends, I could go on and on and on. I could spend every day tracking the moves of this New World Order stooge, but I think you get the point. Owned influence feeds the eye feeds them back. That's what it means to work for the NWO. That's who Clooney is, and that is what he does. Case in point, Clooney is currently out shilling for the same cabal for which we have well established he works for, is owned by, and now $1 billion in debt to, by pushing for regime change in Sudan. Says here George Clooney, how Congress can help stop the killing in Sudan. How very CI of you, Georgie boy. Like a good actor, you've hit your mark and said your lines perfectly and right on cue. Remember, South Sudan became the world's youngest country after it split from Sudan in 2011. It was one of the largest reserves of crude oil in sub-Saharan Africa, only a third of which had been explored. What is this all about? How come every time vast amounts of oil are discovered somewhere, the global elite economic order descends always to prevent genocide and topple murderous regimes? This storyline is so tired and worn out. We need a new script, folks. How about this? How about leave them the F alone? How about the people of South Sudan profit from the oil under their feet? How about the same for the people of Venezuela? How about the American people rise up and say, we see you, the jig is up. We will no longer be the standing army of the NWO. We won't be fooled into fighting your wars of conquest. Game over. How about that? That's the script we've been writing together right now. Really incredible when you think about it. What a time to be alive. And the excellent news is this. The time we are in is a brand new one. We now can see it all. We know the tricks and we know the sham a million miles away. And the second we see it, we see false idols like Clooney for what they are. None of it works anymore. We reclaim our planet in the name of the people. No more wars. No more Americans unknowingly helping the soulless elite class rape, pillage, and plunder, sending our children to die fighting people we have no problems with. And as for the shills like Clooney who facilitated all of it by distracting and misdirecting the masses, particularly Americans, they will be utterly scorned. They won't be able to walk down the streets without being mocked and jeered. And by my calculations, we are getting extremely close to that fateful day. To you, dear reader, you're one of millions of wide-awake people on this planet actively annihilating the sick, soulless old world order in real time with nothing but our minds, and I applaud you. I encourage you to share this information with everyone you know. It's up to us who are awake to awaken others. Together, we are ushering in a planetary renaissance. I know there's a lot to digest here. I'll be making a podcast episode earlier this week to bring you through all this information. The info from part 1, as well as my thoughts on all of it. To get my podcast, become a Patreon. She is 100% independent and a reader funded. If you appreciate her work, research the topics I cover, and efforts to build a counter Hollywood, and want to help me take on the current systems with a vengeance, the very best way to do so is become a Patreon. And my friends, Tiffany Fitzhenry is doing a great job. This ties everything else into it. These people are wolves in sheepskin, and they are taking children. They are hurting people. They are stealing money. They are stealing human beings, and they don't care. They're sociopaths, they're psychopaths, and they're very, very evil. My friends, if you found this informative and you enjoyed it, please subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe to True Reporting 2.0 while you're at it. And also you can follow me on Twitter at TRUreporting. We just hit 16,000 followers. Greatly appreciate that. You can donate to this channel and keep it afloat by going to my PayPal, Patreon. We have a P.O. box and True Reporting merch. Guys, have a wonderful Monday and expect a live stream tonight from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Call in with your questions, complaints, concerns, whatever you want to. It's an open forum show. So I hope to see you tonight. God bless. Bye-bye.